1985.
After reviewing the maps that were shared, I'm not surprised because I know the history here. My grandmother, my mom made sure that I was well equipped with the knowledge of what was taking place in our city through her growing up, through the transition that my grandmother was partaking in and coming to Grand Rapids, the move, what that looked like, what that felt like. And with my mom going to school here, starting at Franklin and going to Central, the transition there, I'm not surprised. I am well aware of the history and the systemic issues that have always been in place here on the West Side. So over time, since my husband and our children grew up in the house that we still own, the home down the street that my grandmother purchased back in the 40s. And our children were very active in the community. We kept them involved, and it was a hard fight, even for them to be able to go to Franklin School, which is now Southwest Campus. I feel like we know for a fact, they did not want black kids there. They wanted it to be a Latino school. And because my children did not speak Spanish, they wanted them bussed out. And I fought against it. My husband and I fought for our children to be able to be part of this community because this is our home, right? And we saw how there was a conversation that everything's gonna be renamed, and it's gonna wipe out our history. So they took over the park, changed the name to Clemente Park. Who the hell Clemente is, I have no idea, and I'm not really trying to find out. But my issue is it was Rumsey Park. That is what it has always been, me growing up, but we see the name has changed. They put $1 million in the park. The housing has changed around here. There was no incentives for the people that were here to fix up their homes or to remain in the neighborhood. It was a big transition from nonprofits coming in, taking over what seemed to be the right fit for the people coming in. So there was a big push for us to leave the neighborhood. I am determined not to go anywhere. I'm a third generation of taxpayers here. I see that the people affordable housing is what they're calling it, right? But it's affordable for who? Who can afford some of the housing units that they're putting up now, right? So they have so many of the units, even across the street, have to be for a certain AMI, up to 80%, I believe, of AMI. But how long is that going to last? So there's a transition taking place right now, and we know that it doesn't include us. My mom told me years ago, honey, they got a plan, and it does not include you. So make sure you hold on to what you have and do something with it. And that's what our plan is. My husband and I talk about it all the time. What are we going to do? How do we make sure that we are able to leave a legacy for our children? And as a realtor, I see this happening a lot. Not just on the west side, it's happening on the southeast side, where people that don't look like me had no desire to be for a long time, right? But now, black and brown people are being pushed out. So right here, they're getting ready to put a lot of money into the park across the street, right? They put $1 million in down the street. With the riverfront coming, everybody is wanting to have and hold something on Granville Avenue. And I still say Granville Avenue. They changed the name to Cesar Chavez. Granville Avenue is part of my history. I will not allow it to be wiped out. I did ask for the Granville Avenue name to remain as a caption on Granville Avenue, because that's part of a lot of people's history, not just mine. And I don't think it's fair that people that aren't even from here can come in and take advantage of anything they want, right? We have no incentives for us that have been here paying taxes, but a lot of people are coming in being able to take advantage of where we've always taken a loss. Redlining has impacted the neighborhood very negatively, like it always has. And I guess it depends on how you look at it, because in certain areas, incentives begin to come in place, right? And so people that should not have access to the incentives are the ones that are able to take advantage of it. And they're taking, because the people that have lived here try to maintain with a little bit of nothing, have not been able to really meet the needs of, or what the city wants to see, they're being pushed out. And people with money are able to come in and take advantage of it, right? So the neighborhoods do not look the same. Wealthy Street does not look like Wealthy Street used to look like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Granville Avenue, I know, will be the same way. It will be the same way. I feel like they need to be a bit more intentional in the master plan that's being prepared for the next 20 years of the City of Grand Rapids. We need to be very intentional what's included in that 20-year plan. It should not be a copy and paste of the last 20 years. If it is, I see a lawsuit coming. I hope that for the area surrounding my business, I hope that there is more inclusion and opportunity created for the people that have been here, and that we do not get leftovers. We need access to environmental issues to be put in place, cleaner air. Quality of air quality over here is horrible. 131 has also been an issue. That was very intentional. That affects our air quality. The industrial buildings around here need to change. They need to be held accountable, and investment needs to come from them back into the community, because we have been under-resourced, underutilized, and just taken advantage of in this neighborhood. And it shouldn't just come from the city level. It needs to come from the state, from the county, and the federal level. There are resources out there. That whole Justice 40 piece, some of those funds need to move this way. Very intentional. And so the people that are in power, they need to know that we have a voice also, and that our voice and our vote matters. And we want to see systemic changes happen. We want to eliminate the racism out of all the policies. I have asked for a review of all the local policies that have held us back from moving forward. When I say us, I mean Black people. There's a lot of racism baked into our policies. And we know why, right? It's just that there's people in places that are in power that are afraid to say anything. And they look like me. They're afraid to say anything. But there's a whole group of us out here that are making things happen differently. And we're going to be very intentional about getting it done. I refuse to pass this down to the next generation. Can't do it. This has been handed down to me. Third generation. Do you think that the white man is doing that? He's making sure his children and his grandchildren have opportunity and money to get whatever they want. We want to do the same for ours.